We'll learn some social media magic. It won't be, it's unlikely there'll be anything like earth-shattering in here, but it's some really good basics and tips and tricks for marketing, primarily events, but everything I'm talking about can be applied to anything. It doesn't have to be an actual event. So, okay, let me share my screen. All right. All right, we good? Okay, all right. So I am, just want to say digital is not new. I think we've all been more immersed into it than we ever have before. A lot of people who might not have been that comfortable in the digital space are now becoming comfortable in this space, hopefully. But it's really an opportunity to be more creative, more consistent, and more captivating than we ever have before. And I think social media is a big part of that. So, all right, who am I real quick? I'm a writer, I'm a strategist. I don't like to do anything without knowing why we're doing it. So creating a strategy behind things is super important, and I work with my clients to do that. Via that, I'm a writer and communicator. I am an event prof. I am a podcaster. I have 2 podcasts. I did record an episode of Inside Events earlier on monetizing online events. So check that out if you haven't yet. It'll also be published on the pod, and I'll give you the links later on in the session. I also like to say I'm an adventurer. I like to jump off and out of things. And I'm a huge sports fan. This is my birthday week, and I am turning 49 on the 49ers home opener on Sunday, and I'm a season ticket holder. So I'm sad I can't be there in person, but I'm pretty excited. This is me in tears after we won the NFC Championship. All right, so we're gonna cover communication plans, basically having a strategy and getting on the same page with everyone in your organization, pre-event marketing, the marketing that should be done when you're on site, whether it's online or off, and that post-event piece, which is imperative but often gets forgotten. So communication. All right, you want to, I hear a lot, especially in association land, that the event team and the marketing team live in different places and don't often jive quite the way that they should. So my first thing is to develop a plan for your events together. Create a hashtag strategy first. You want to make sure you, hashtags are so important. I have 3 or 4 slides that pertain to just the art of hashtagging. So hold tight if you have a question about that. I'm going to get to it. But do please pop your questions in, and I'll work them in as I can. But I might get to what you're asking about as we go along. But we will have 10 minutes at the end also for additional questions. Okay, so determine which platforms to utilize. Where are your folks? Decide who will do what. Will your marketing team and your event team work together? Will you hire a team to handle your marketing for you? Will you get volunteers? And we'll get into all that. And roll it out in phases. I save the date is not a new invention, but it's super important for online events also. And I think now, I want to say more than ever, because it's not really, that's sort of stating it too strongly, but we're all really busy on Zoom, right? But and I saw the plan at IMEX, save the date, no schedule yet, no link for reg, but I went immediately to my calendar and I put that save the date in my calendar. So you really want to be doing that. We are seeing in online events people registering much, much later. So just know that that's going to happen. But do create call to actions to try to create a sense of urgency. Do create your pricing so that it incentivizes people to register earlier, and add speaker promos. So for this, the team, the Age of Conversation team, created a media kit, and I got images and links, and all I had to do was post them. Boom. Like, make it that easy for your presenters and speakers, but also make it part of their deal, make it part of their contract. It shouldn't, I am a marketer, so it's like, it's natural for me to do that, but every speaker who's speaking at your event should be helping you to promote it by sharing that they're going to be speaking. Okay, so I talked a little bit about determining your objectives. We've got to have a strategy. So considerations in building it out. Target demographics and market focus, those are pretty closely linked. Who, is it people that have attended before, prospective participants, members, prospective members? Can you expand your reach because you're doing your event online. Now, I am hearing this a lot, that people are getting, numbers are blowing up, that people are attending who have never attended before. And so if you have an opportunity to capitalize on that and build that relationship, do that, build that into your strategy to help to do that through social media. So, and branding guidelines, this is the 101. Just make sure that your event branding doesn't have to be exactly like, but it should be similar to your overall brand, your website. It should carry throughout your social media, including tone of voice. I mean, we know like Liz and Nicole, they're super fun, right? If this event was promoted in a stodgy way or in a very like boring way, we would be like, yeah, I don't, that doesn't seem right, right? So make sure that those are in line. Figure out how much time you have to spend, and that will help tell you, do you need to hire help? All the way from 6 months out to the week leading up to the event and beyond, because like I said, remember, imperative afterwards. So, and can you recruit volunteers to widen the net? This is big with social media, especially too, and we'll talk about this. They don't have to even be at the event. They can just be online. So something to think about. Okay, so these objectives are going to feed into your overall plan. You want to create a roadmap so that there's structure to what you're managing over time, before, during, and after. It helps you manage who's going to do what. It helps you define what tactics you're going to do. Maybe there's certain platforms you're just not going to touch. Maybe, you know, there's different things to consider. And then figure out what success looks like. That is super important. And then when I say strategy, that's the biggest thing. Like, what is success going to look like? What will make you happy? If you get 200 attendees and 5 people engage on social, that's probably not awesome, right? But also having half that probably isn't realistic either. So maybe somewhere in between, and understand that you're going to need to tweak. So as you go, look at, you know, you plan it, you do it, you check it, and then you adjust if it's not working. It sounds simple on one way, and it also sounds like a lot of work in another. But if you do it well, then over time it'll be easier, and it'll become like muscle memory for your team, and potentially for your volunteers as well. Know that you don't have to be everywhere. Be where your participants or your clients or prospects are, and do it well. Consistency is key. Have a cadence to what you're posting. You know, maybe you're only posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Cool. Maybe you're only posting Tuesday, Thursday, but just make sure that you're consistent about it in when you post and when you engage, because it shouldn't just be a one-way street. We'll talk more about that. So I'm going to dig in by platform to what I call the big 4, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Obviously there's TikTok, and there's Snapchat, and there's all these other things, and TikTok's super fun. But in terms of for events and for the purposes of this presentation, this is what I'm going to be talking about. So Facebook, and as much as people are kind of over it and whatever they say, it's still where everyone is. It's hugely, 80% of marketers are marketing to it on Facebook. So how do you leverage that platform? And groups is one way, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Twitter, super fast, easy resource for news and driving website traffic. So it's also, the shelf life of a tweet is super short. It's, I don't know how many minutes now, but with the algorithm, you get a little bit more life out of it, because people who have engaged with your content will see it again. If they engage with your content, they'll keep seeing it, no matter when it was posted. But it really is, especially for events, it's the place to be. And having Twitter challenges and stuff like that during your event is something that you can do, which is super fun. LinkedIn, obviously it's the professional platform, but people are getting a little more casual on there, and it's renewed. There's a renewed and increasing interest on there. So my recommendation for that, when we dig in, you'll see, is to not necessarily during your event to use it, but pre and post. Instagram, we know, is the land of pretty pictures and video, and it's still super hot, and we'll talk about that. Video continues to gain in popularity. Social media marketing world for the last 3 years, that's been the thing. Video is the big thing this year. And you can see by the stat, by 2022, more than 80% of all consumer internet traffic will be 15 times higher than it was in 2017 for online videos. So I'm going to be providing this presentation at the end. I think you'll get everything at the end of the summit, but I have hot links in here to everything. So we'll share that with you at the end. But obviously promote and hold online events. Here we are. Ta-da. But it's a way to you can do live, you can do recorded. Live video gets more traction on social media. On all the algorithms favor live video. So if you can do live video well, I highly recommend that. Have your speakers create promo videos and share those. Video that isn't live still gets great traction. So I would highly recommend that. And you share it as the organizer and have the speakers themselves also share. Remote fam trips. Did anyone go to Thailand last night? I had this in my presentation before that even happened. You can also add influencers in. I mean, people who have influence are those who are not necessarily the Kardashians of the world, but anyone who has a lot of followers in a certain space, especially if it's in a niche, add them in to share the event. Remote fam trips are very, I mean, I see this continuing to gain popularity, and obviously Haute Dokimazo is got a lot to do with that. They're doing a fantastic job. So, and then show behind the scenes of your team, your destination. I know destinations are really suffering right now because of so few events happening, and just in general because people aren't traveling as much. So I think destinations, they get creative with showing behind the scenes of different things about their city, behind the scenes in hotels and kitchens and restaurants in cities. I think those are all great ideas for video, especially live. All right, so pre-event marketing, let's get the butts in the seats. As I mentioned, you want to create a sense of urgency, early ridge pricing, gradual price increases. These are not surprising. These are not necessarily social media related, except that you want to be making sure that you're including this in your social media as you market the event. Promote your speakers and your entertainment, assuming that that's going to help get people there. I would say if it's not, then they shouldn't be part of your event. And then use video and storytelling to pique interest. I think these are things that can really help sell an event. Share the uniqueness of it, build community around it, and that we will talk about when we get Facebook groups. But truly, now that we're online as much as we are, community is huge. How awesome is this community in this Age of Conversation Summit? I mean, amazing. So I say that it should be the gold standard moving forward for your events. And then use the appropriate approach by platform. You want to meet people where they are. If they're on Facebook, go on Facebook. So, and that might require some, surveying of people or whatever, but you figure out where your people are. Okay, market to get them there. I had to use these examples because this kind of is a great illustration, no pun intended, of how creating the image for the platform is super important. So you can see on the Twitter, that image is square, which should be great for every platform, except that Twitter cuts off the top of the image. So you get the information about the event, but the tops of our heads are cut off. So you're going to want to create different image sizes for Twitter, or create the image for Twitter and then use it on the other platforms. Obviously Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, those square photos work wonderfully. So something to think about. That appropriate image size is a hot link to with the latest. I know it changes a lot. So that particular article is a Social Sprout article that they keep updated. So every time it changes, you don't have to go search for it. Just you can go to the same resource, which is kind of nice. All right, we have any questions so far? No. Okay. Cool. All right, so in terms of positive brand views, again, make this part of your plan with your company marketing team. Make sure the company marketing and event marketing are complementary. You want to have event branding that's a bit unique, but still in line with your company's overall branding. I think Social Media Marketing World does a nice job of that. They're the jungle is their main theme, but they are a San Diego-based company, and their event has happened here the last 8 years. So I think they do a nice job of that. You want to have themes that are creative, on brand, and also connect to the host city or to the theme of the event if it's not if it's an online event. Okay, y'all, art of hashtagging. Now, I want a favor. Can everyone take a selfie with me and promise me that you'll post it with hashtag Age of Conversation? All right. Get you guys in the picture. 1, 2, 3. All right. I had to do it, right? It's about social media. The thing about hashtags, there's some misconceptions. Basically, what you need to know, the main thing you need to know is that they're about discovery. They're about becoming discovered. If you ever see a sentence where every word is hashtag, the, she, he, no, just no. That's not how it works. So, and I have some tips for how many to have and all of that kind of stuff. So basically, first you want to make sure that the hashtag that you're going to use for your event, look to see if it's been used before. Look to see, there might be another organization that used it that is totally not on brand for your event. You want your hashtag to be on brand. It might have been used before, forever ago, and that's okay. But like Age of Conversation has been used elsewhere, but we definitely have flooded the interwebs, and this is, and we've taken over the hashtag, so to speak. So, and on this, I say, consider not including the year in your hashtag. And I think it's even more important now that everything's online, because we're building community around our events more than we ever have. I think that you should have a hashtag for your event that doesn't have the year, and then that conversation can continue on again after the event to help build momentum for the next year. Use it on everything. I can't tell you how many times I register for an event and it's a totally missed opportunity that they didn't put the hashtag in the registration confirmation. Hello. So yeah, have that figured out and just slap it everywhere and encourage your attendees to use it. Put it in your social bios. You can see there my, I just kind of clipped out my part of my Twitter bio, and I put in there Age of Conversation. So if somebody searches on that, they won't just find the tweets that have gone out with that hashtag, but they'll also find me as a person. So especially if you're attending a big event that has many, many people, that will help you kind of rise to the top. So Melissa asked, should events have multiple hashtags? I don't think so. You will see a lot people kind of just making up their own, and I think that's when that happens. Someone, you know, says, say they added Age of Conversation 20 and someone else added 2020 to the end of it. If one person sees that, then they think, oh, that's the hashtag, so they start to use it. So that's why I think you need to be promoting that one hashtag, making sure that everyone understands it. You'll still get that weird outlier situation happening, but I definitely would say just have the one. That is my stance on that. Put it everywhere. Everywhere. All right, by platform. Instagram, absolutely crucial to be found, used here religiously. You'll see you get up to 30 hashtags and you are not penalized, and we'll talk more about this. You're not penalized by using all 30, so why not use all 30? And I have a little formula for you that that I'll share that shows you you know, ideas of how to break them up with the different kinds of hashtags to use. Twitter is also important there to be found, but don't use more than 3. It gets a little, to feel a little spammy. The Twitter community doesn't really like a ton of hashtags in tweets. LinkedIn is also, it's widely used there now. They're searchable and they're encouraged by LinkedIn, so go for it. But I would say also don't do 30, like, you know, kind of limit it and make sure that it's very tightly connected to what your post is about. Do not, I call it, well, I didn't make up this, hashjacking is a real thing where people will use a hashtag because it's popular to try to get attention for something that they're posting. But if it's unrelated, it's no bueno. So please try to not do that. Facebook, again, they're not as widely used on Facebook, but there was recent spark towards this. And I have a LinkedIn article here to that, so you can figure that out. All right, so here are some resources for you. You can see what's trending. The first one is specific to Twitter, local. You can see tags around a searched tag, trend graph by time and volume, and then stats on post reviews. Some of these are free, some of them are freemium, like you might get to try it. And some you just have to pay for now because they know they've got a good thing going. And so check those out. Here's some examples. On hashtagify.me, this is from May, this wasn't today or anything. I searched the Eventprof's hashtag and it shows you other related hashtags, which is nice because that'll help you kind of figure out what other hashtags to potentially use. popularity. I'm personally think anything over 40% is awesome. So that high of a popularity is great. And it'll show if it's gone down and who is mostly tweeting using it, which is pretty nice. And then the right tag thing, I wanted to show you this just to show contrast. So the event profs hashtag there shows almost 55,000. Event, it shows 281. But here's the thing, that doesn't make it more valuable. Just because it's being used more doesn't make it more valuable. It just means that people are popping it in more. I would say that the event prof still is more valuable because it's more targeted and the people that are using it are really in the industry or, you know, looking to engage with your content versus just anyone, any, you know, Joe just throwing a hashtag on the word event. Okay, all right, so breakdown by social platforms, and I know I'm talking really fast. So hopefully everybody's soaking it all in. All right, Twitter, discovery and engagement. Use the hashtag on every single post for your event and for your, if you have a branded hashtag, and we'll get into that in a sec. Encourage registrants to use it. Create Twitter lists. So you can see here, I created a list, awesome meeting and expo folks. I created this forever ago. I just changed the title of it to add the word awesome. And then I added a bunch of people who are attending this event to see what would happen. And guess what? Kate Pate, she's now following that list. She gets a notification. So if I call someone awesome, I mean, how cool is that? They're like, oh, they think I'm awesome. And then they're gonna follow you, potentially engage with you, and potentially follow your lists. And lists are a great way to segment, because we know Twitter is, if you use it, you know, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. So lists enable you to break them down. So like I have a list for sports. I have a list for, you know, meetings and events, for social media, for certain people, for specific events. Like many years past, there have been different IMEX Twitter lists that I've been a part of. So, so yeah, that can help you build community and connect with people before you get on site, and during also, obviously, but also use the industry standard hashtags. You know, hopefully by now, that the gold standard for the event industry is event profs. That should be on everything. I have an Instagram account for a client that I haven't posted to for 2 years. Actually, yeah, for about 2 years. And it still get followers. It's still growing. And I haven't posted since January of 18. So 2.5 years. So yeah, hashtags matter. Just, you know, keep in mind that the idea around hashtags, the idea is to be found, engage with your audience, not just with hashtags, but with the platform. And then keep them interested, and don't just, you know, don't just be a megaphone. You should also be engaging. Use branded images for your event. We talked about that. And share the value. Don't just say, hey, sign up for this. Indicate in your videos, in your images, in your captions, why they should attend your event. All right. Just, this is an example, 2 examples of why your team doesn't have to be on site. The Pi Colorado post, I got invited to, or got asked to manage social media for this conference. It was about 250 people, but I wasn't there. And actually the sentiment basically from everyone who was there was like, they were really shocked that I wasn't in the room. So part of that is reading the room, right? Like engaging with people on the platform the way that they're engaging. But also I just wanted to show that even with the only 250 person attended event, this got really great engagement, 45 likes, 5 retweets, and 3 comments. Kids are always good for that, but yeah, so I wanted to share that. And then the social media marketing world post was done way after the event, highlighting their sponsor and of course using the event hashtag. I would say during events, schedule tweets for specific sessions and sponsor shout outs throughout the day. So if you schedule that stuff, it's there's less of a lift. The heavy lifting is done in the engagement side and sharing user generated content, not necessarily in the nuts and bolts of sharing the sponsor information and speaker shout outs before their sessions are starting. And then keep the conversation going, continue that engagement, super important. Okay, Facebook groups are a huge opportunity on Facebook in which to build community. So there's a speaker, Bella Vasta, and she likes to say it like this. business in the front. You don't have a barbecue in your front yard, right? You have a barbecue in the backyard. In your front yard, it's a little bit more business-like. So business in the front, party in the back, also kind of a mullet joke, right? But the idea also, though, is that if you're in a group, if you create a group, just like you would in your barbecue, you're gonna invite them to have something to eat. You're gonna offer them a drink. You're gonna introduce them to other people. And that's the same thing you need to be doing within Facebook groups, within any group really, within any community, is to helping people engage with each other and not just trying to promote events or not just trying to promote things. So you can create one for your registered attendees. You can make that group the destination. So rather than just living out in the social ether with the hashtag, you can also have people in there where they are a lot more likely, kind of like in this environment here today, to chat with each other and to learn and help and all of that things that humans do regardless of what their job is. All right, so like I said, make sure you engage with them, facilitate conversations. I would have some facilitators. Don't put it just on one person, but have a few moderators and people who are like, say maybe Susie takes Mondays, Jenny takes Wednesdays, and Bob takes Fridays or whatever. And then they ask a question to spark conversation and make sure that you're responding or helping, people get answers to the things they're asking in there. Ask your speakers also to get in there and participate and engage. That's super exciting for participants to be able to speak with, especially the high-end speakers. If you can get one of them to agree to do that, I think that's pretty awesome. You can create units within there for the different areas of interest. Maybe you have different verticals within the industry that your event is for, so you can do that there. And then now there's rooms. So there's like a Zoom element inside groups, so you can create groups. So like essentially we could all get off this right now and like split up into groups and like do little mini networking, which I think is super awesome. So continue to use your business page to promote your event, but mix it up. Don't just promote. Share thought leadership, industry related, business related topics that affect everyone, and that'll help build trust too, that you're not just trying to sell. Like I said, Instagram land of pretty pictures, still super hot, more than 1 billion monthly users, hashtags like crazy, including the event hashtag, and and the industry standard hashtag. So for event profs and age of conversation would be two that you would 100% absolutely use. So there's some study results on how many hashtags are good. It's varied, but Agorapulse is got a one person who works this lab, and it's dedicated to doing research. And he is basically just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't for people. So I think the latest was that you might as well use 30 hashtags, because if not, it's a waste on discoverability. So include them in the post caption. You can include them in the first comment, but again, studies show that doesn't help you. In fact, it might bump, in terms of most recent posts, it might put off somebody seeing that if you took those, even if it's seconds, that extra time to put it in the comment. So you can put it in that first. You can put some space between the caption, but the first 2 or 3 lines of the caption are all that show anyway. So unless you click more. So something to think about, make that catchy, make sure that those first few lines are really good to catch people's attentions. Stories, use stories to tell the story of your event. Leading up to the event, you can post pictures from past events. Make sure you tag the people that are in them using your hashtag, creating that excitement to lead up to your event. Obviously throughout to tell the story. And this is for the people who are there, but it's really for the people who aren't. And we're going to talk about FOMO a little bit more here in a minute, but that's really what you're doing. You're trying to engage people so that they want to be there next time, even if it's online. I guarantee you, anyone who's seeing all the pictures and the videos and everything of today who didn't attend this summit are going to be super bummed. So hopefully they'll get smart and just pay for it and then watch the replays, but you get what I mean. So and then repost attendee engagement. So if people tag you and their story, 100% repost that. And stories are only good for 24 hours. However, you can add them to highlights. So if your event has 3 days, you can create a highlight of each day. So if someone doesn't look on till like 48 hours later, they can still see day 1. And I'm happy to tell you how to do that offline if you want more detail on that. We just don't have time. How am I on time? Speaking of that, 3:10. All right, I got 10 minutes. All right, I'm gonna go real quick so that I can get any other questions. This is a formula to consider. Jen Herman created this 4 to 5 popular hashtags, which means like if you do a search on it, up to millions of posts, meaning that hashtag has been used in up to, you know, a few million posts. 5 to 6 moderately popular, which is like hundreds of thousands. Niche specific, so obviously event profs, that's ours. Meeting profs will be another. So use those. And then branded hashtags are hashtags that you use not just around your event, but yes, your event hashtag, but also branded hashtags that you've created for your organization. That is super important to be consistent with. And then you're really curating. So if you search on that, you and anyone else who has used that will come up in one pretty picture, so which is pretty cool. LinkedIn, real quick. Like I said, pre and post event, it's growing in popularity again. They brought events back. It's emerged as a key channel, but it's kind of weird for holding events. So I wouldn't recommend having your event on here, but you can promote your event. If you do have an event that you want to live stream onto LinkedIn, you 100% can do that. So these images are just kind of a picture of the journey of how do you do that. Live video though, you have to apply. There's a wait. Right now, apparently it takes a while to get accepted. So, but if you use a tool like StreamYard, you can go live to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn simultaneously, and you can have multiple people on screen, and it's quite good. I use that for my lives. Goldie Chan is amazing LinkedIn creator, so she's a good resource for you there. All right, on-site team, don't forget about the on-site management. I know I've already covered this, so, but schedule shifts, who's gonna do what, who's gonna take what platform. Use listening tools like Agorapulse or Buffer or Hootsuite, so Social Sprout, so you can adjust anything that was posted without the event hashtag, because that'll happen. Oops, sorry, let me go back. Have a plan of how to respond to negative posts. It will happen. This is your customer service or information table, y'all, so make sure that you're ready. And give real-time understand that you're getting real-time feedback. So your surveys include, while you should still do them, also should include the social sentiment of attendees online. This is just 3 examples of 2 people who posted during the Evolve Community Series while it was going on. And then the one in the middle, Brian Fanzo is a speaker, and he created this video right after he got off stage talking at an event, and created this video showing all the tools on the software and the strategy he used to make the presentation. He does a lot of really cool things, got a lot of variety, does 360 screens, he has different cameras and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Have a crisis communication plan. It does live in marketing's purview because social media is going to be the way to get the word out if anything happens. So if you haven't taken that MPI crisis communication certificate program that Alex Plaxton teaches, I would do that. It's super important. You just got to plan for anything and really understand that having verbiage written that's agreed upon, that doesn't have to get approved by legal, is super important, and just know that it's an insurance policy. Messenger marketing and text marketing are like blowing up. I mean, here's the thing, especially during events, people are, when you're on site especially, people are less likely to be in their email, but they always have their phone on them. And so if you have texting available, that can be a good way for you to let people know about room moves or, you know, change in schedule or, you know, anything really, or just to let people know that you're excited that they're attending. It's really quick and easy and convenient. And then messenger marketing's kind of a bit different. That this is done like via Facebook Messenger or websites or SMS. ManyChat and 42 Chat are 2. They have an event bot specifically that can be used to, some of the same questions are going to get asked by people. So, I mean, really you could have those all pre-written, and then hopefully you'll have to have less person power to answer those questions. Post-event, continue that conversation, continue to create that FOMO. Don't let the communication end. Share social activity after and make that part of your plan. Share photos and videos, Quote reviews, continue to engage with your attendees who keep using the hashtag. On Instagram, if you save a hashtag, you will continue to get notifications. So for sure, do that. Highlight engaged attendees and others, screenshot and reshare posts where they quoted your speakers. That's where Twitter is especially big. People will tweet up a storm live tweeting during good presenters and quote them. And so that's a great way to spark interest in your next event. All of your social media activity should spark interest for those who weren't there. Before, during, and after builds interest. Here are some tools and resources. The second one, wave.video, is a super cool tool that I use that enables you to really easily stitch together different videos. You can even drop, it does transitions for you. You can drop pictures in between. You can pop logo on there. You can have names of people slide in and out. It's really, 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 really worth the investment. Wave.co, I think, is a similar tool. I just learned about ClipScribe the other day. It'll auto subtitle your videos. Apparently it's super awesome, and it's only $40 like one time. It's not like a monthly thing. So check that out. Big View TV is a teleprompter for your phone. So if you're afraid of going live because you're not sure you're going to know what to say, you can have your script on the screen. So you're looking at it like I'm looking right now, and it could be just having the words there that I am planning on saying. Super awesome. Canva, amazing. I used Canva to create this presentation. Agora Pulse, I highly recommend for social scheduling, listening, incredible tool. And even like more awesome people that own and run that company, they are salt of the earth. Social Media Industry Report came out a few months ago, and that gives you like the latest and greatest. I mentioned I'm a podcaster. This is a link to the Inside Events podcast. We're in season 2. We recorded episode 15 earlier today. I'm in season 4 of Making a Marketer, and we're recording episode 65 live on Facebook tomorrow. So if you want to follow Powers of Marketing on Facebook, then you can see us record that live. We're going to talk about strategy framework on that. So podcasting is my favorite part of my job. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much. If anybody has any other questions, I asked Natalie to drop some links in with my deck is the PDF and in there, and then there's links to both the podcasts. Anyone have any questions? No, that's it. I covered everything. You don't need to know anything else.
This was so much information. This was so great.
I know. I had to talk. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm almost out of time. I got to talk really fast.
I appreciate you sharing the slides too. I'm going to be like memorizing all of it. It's so many great resources you shared. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Yeah. And things just change. They change in a blink of an eye. So yeah. I'm trying to keep up on it. I gave this presentation in May, and then and then customized it for this and made some tweaks. So yeah. Awesome. Thanks all for being here. And be sure to follow me and post those selfies, please. Please. And tag.
Megan, I have a quick question.
Yeah, please.
I just had to step out of the room for a second, and then when I came back in, you were talking about teleprompters.
Yes.
Can you just recap what you said about teleprompters?
Yeah. Let me see if I can get back to that slide. So there's a tool called Big View, bigview.tv. Mm-hmm. And it's for your phone, so you can't really do it on at least for now, as far as I understand, it's only a phone-based app, but it's an app. And then it'll put the words over the video, over the picture so you can talk to the camera and see your script. Yeah, super slick.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I haven't used it yet, but Michaela Alexis, who some of you might know her name, she's a big LinkedIn pro. Big View and ClipScribe both come from her. She's tearing it up on TikTok too. So she's giving business advice on LinkedIn, on TikTok, and it's awesomeness. So if you're on the TikTok, go check that out. It's pretty fun.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right. That's it.
Megan, this was fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you sent the slides, because I could not write fast enough
I know.
to take notes. So thank you so much. And keep the conversation going. Thank you for giving your information. And be sure to go back to the main room at 5:30, and we're going to write some songs.
Awesome. And I'm going to drink some wine that I won out of my new unicorn wine cup. It's a magical time, which is so perfect because this is called the social media magic. I just realized that. I love it. Thank you, everyone.
That's perfect. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm sweating.
Holy cow, that's a lot of information. I was like, how is she talking so fast?
Well, yeah, and I thought, oh, I should be good with 30 minutes and then 10 minutes for questions. But yeah, I didn't gloss over anything. So yeah, so there you have it.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I'm definitely going to tune into your podcast.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, that was, yes. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
and actually, of course, Lisa Miller, she's attending today, and she works in the incentive space, and she was a guest on Making a Marketer, and I shared with her today in the chat. She happened to be in a session that her episode with, oh my goodness, I'm just having a brain freeze. It'll come to me, but who she did the session with, but third most downloaded all time in 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
So I said, well, I'm going to have her on the Inside Events podcast because obviously it's a hot topic. But she was second for a long time, and she just got passed by an episode about marketing cannabis.
Oh. Yeah.
Apparently, it's a topic people are interested in. So
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thank you for volunteering too.
You
too.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Absolutely. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Enjoy your cup.
Thanks.
Right, goodbye, everyone. Thank you.